this game. There's simple things I can look at and say, I have great faith that the Bucks turn around. They're not going to be nervous with their back against the wall.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zoom.
Yo, I am the star in any room that I stand in.
Tucker saves it on the end line to the cutting Giannis for the slam in the lead. Goes toward the basket and stuffed with two hands. They can't stop Giannis tonight.
He's just a physical.
And ever since the pandemic, they don't want to drink out of Canada. I've been screaming.
Giannis did a great job of setting the tone, being aggressive.
Just tried to make that right play and take a possession at a time.
Here's Holiday triggering an open three, and he bags one.
I'm not Michael Jordan, but, you know.
New York City. Still with you, KJZ. ESPN Radio, presented by Progressive Insurance. Alan Hahn with Key. And we are joined on the Goodyear Hotline by a good friend of the show, Kendrick Perkins. Good morning, Perk. How you doing? We're not hearing Perk yet.
Might be on a little delay.
A little delay. That's a
Perk,
long...
you with us, big dog? There you go.
We see him.
What's happening?
What up, Alan? What up, Key?
Got you.
What's happening,
All right.
boss?
Good morning. How are you? All right, so we've been going through in the first hour of this show a little bit of a debate, or not a debate. It was more of a. I'm curious to get an answer for this. I called a bunch of guys that I know in the league, either still playing or out or retired, and so I want to ask you off the top. Giannis Antetokounmpo is back-to-back 40-point games. He has been an MVP twice. But one thing that I've noticed, and I saw this on social media yesterday, and I've followed up by asking guys, when like Dame Lillard, hits a logo three, you see a lot of the elite players in the NBA tweet about it, all excited. When you see even Luka have a game or make a shot, whatever it is, you see reaction. I don't see that same type of reaction, enthusiasm for anything Giannis does. Remember what James Harden said last year about how, anybody can just dunk the basketball, it takes skill to do what I do. Is there something about Giannis's game that maybe the high-end players of the league aren't respecting nearly enough?
Well, you know what, Alan? I don't know, and I was wondering the same thing. When you have a guy that dominated the way he has dominated in these past two games, especially in Game 3, I was expecting a bigger reaction. And you know what I came to the conclusion of is that guys are just bored with the process. I mean, think about it. Over the last 2.5, 3 years almost, Giannis has dominated, right? They're used to Giannis putting up historical numbers, having a hell of a player efficiency rating, right? And so what happens is the same thing that happened with LeBron James when he was in Cleveland. Guys are just getting bored. It's becoming a norm. So when they see Giannis attacking the rim, when they see Giannis getting downhill, when they see him snatching the screws out the basketball goal, when they see all these things, they're like, oh, we're used to seeing Giannis do this, which is unfair. At the end of the day, you have to give credit when credit's due. I always say I can't applaud a fish for swimming, okay? But right now, the way that Giannis is in the water, he's acting like a great white, and we don't see them rarely. So at the end of the day, I feel like as a fraternity and all, we have to start respecting Giannis for what he's doing and what he's bringing to the table far as his greatness.
Yeah, I guess I enjoy watching him play. I don't know. I get annoyed, I guess, Perkin. You've been there. You played against him, played with him, I believe. Shaq, the comparisons to Shaq drives me nuts because I look at Shaq as striking fear into his opponents. I don't necessarily look at Giannis as striking fear into his opponents. The only similarities to me is they both miss free throws. But maybe being a football player and you being an NBA guy, you can bring a little more insight into it for me.
Well, Key, I know how you feel, right? Because I have the same problem with Giannis. Here's 2 points. One is that in Game 3, you know the difference in Game 3 than Game 2 that we saw in Giannis? Forget him having 40-plus and dominating in the inside. He played with a certain type of swagger, right? He played with a mean streak. And that's what you're accustomed to. That's what I'm accustomed to. Key, when you was on the football field, you had that killer mentality. You was a dog. You was an instigator. Forget making plays, going down the field, scoring touchdowns, making them unbelievable catches. You also had that swagger about yourself. And I think that's what Giannis be lacking at times, That's why it don't look like eye candy to the real ones that know. But when you think about the comparisons to Shaq, think about it. Shaquille O'Neal said himself, if it was one player in today's game that mimics him, or that that he would say that is a version of himself, it was Giannis. And I think when you look at what he played, how he played with brute force, he's polarizing, right? You only have certain guys that we have seen over the last 15 to 20 years that are polarizing. That's guys like Shaquille O'Neal, LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, and Giannis. I mean, it's just dominance. But I feel what you're saying, Keith. I want to see that killer. I want to see that yelling in guys' faces. I want to see that tenacity. And I think in Game 3, he finally showed that side of him.
Perk, is it going to take another 40-point performance for the Bucks from Giannis for the Bucks to even this series?
You know what? I don't think so. I think the Bucks will even this series. I think Phoenix will do a better job of emphasizing taking away Giannis, and I think the others will actually step up and deliver in great fashion. I'm still waiting on Chris Middleton to have a real breakout game. Look, people overlooked that he had 29 points in Game 1, but I'm looking for that Chris Middleton to go for 40. We all know role players play better at home. We watched P.J. Tucker finally put his fingerprints on the game. I think the Phoenix Suns will find a way to give Ayton some help with Giannis, load up, take away a few easy baskets, try to play without fouling, try to make him take tough contested twos outside the paint, even when he catch it on the low block. But I still think others around him will step up and deliver. Look, I had Phoenix in 6. But I'm leaning towards having Phoenix in 7. I think this is going to be one of those playoffs. Let me tell you why. I think it's going to be one of those playoff series where each game, the home team will win in great fashion. Because just think, in these 3 games, we still haven't seen a 4th quarter where it's a lead change and a possession by possession. So with that being said, I'm like, I see it. I'm watching the Phoenix Suns. I'm watching their role players look a little rattled on the road. Devin Booker, he looked a little rattled. P.J. Tucker made him uncomfortable. Mikal Bridges, nowhere to be found. So when I'm watching those type of things, this is when that youngster in those guys come out, right? Where they play better at home in front of their home crowd because they have that fan base.
Yeah, that home court advantage was so noticeable in the first 2 games and definitely in Game 3 as well. Perk looking resplendent as always, man. I love the sport coat today.
And remember, it's not a game. It's not a Game 8, Perk. Can't keep pushing it now.
Hey, Key, I learned from you, Alan. I appreciate it.
All right. Kendrick Perkins on the Goodyear hotline. Have a good day, Perk. Thanks as always. And Perk's appearance brought to you by Goodyear, helping you discover the road ahead. Goodyear, more driven.
Perk say, I'll take it in 6. Well, I think I'm going to go to 7. Really?
But he does bring up the point of the home court thing. Like, because you have a young Suns team, they look so good at home, but that young teams will do this. They'll go on the road. They'll be a totally different team. Devin Booker, we'll talk about Giannis. We'll talk about Chris Middleton. I need to see what Devin Booker is going to do in Game 4 after what happened. That was an awful Game 3. He's got to bounce back. If he's going to be, that Kobe bounce back game has to happen.
What if he doesn't, though?
Another bad. Well, then they're going to talk about how the road affected him. He's not the same, and it's like a mental thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is a mental toughness kind of game, isn't it, Game 4? For him? Personally for him. Because Drew's going to get in his case again.
Well,
he's going to be all over him.
Confidence is important. Drew Holiday is going into Game 4 with a lot of confidence because I'm in you now. The bench is standing up. They there. They right there. They
Game
telling
plan
you, it's right there. I'm not going to change anything from Game 3 to Game 4. If I get fouls, I just get fouls. I'm going out.
But that's the other question, fouls. Ayton was the guy that they lost to foul trouble in Game 3. Drew Holiday gets in foul trouble, changes everything. Isn't it amazing? A couple of fouls called early changes the whole
Yeah, because I'm playing bully ball down low, and I have nothing to lose. I'm down 2-0. Do you take that same approach now? And it's 2-1. Do you take the same 2-0 mentality as I have nothing to lose.
Well, that same aggressive defense, though, can work against you because you said he's playing physical. You saw him slapping a lot at the basketball.
But you got to go back into game 4 with nothing to lose, man. You can't go in there